Hey, everybody. Welcome to Silverline Silver Sunday. I am Tom Mason. I am guest hosting tonight for Mr. Roland Mann, who is running and hiding. He apparently has his own personal life to deal with. Joining me
That's not
tonight,
allowed.
joining me tonight is the master of the what would you call it? The scoreboard or the
I will scoreboard. Yeah.
console? I'm going to call it the scoreboard. It's Jose Fuentes, our regular Tuesday
Right.
guy. Welcome, Jose.
Hello.
Also joining us is the man on the mask guy, Mike W. Belcher. Happy Sunday, Mike.
Happy Sunday, and remembering Pearl Harbor.
That's the thing. Today is December 7th, and it's you hear a lot about it in the news and in the media that sort of celebrate Pearl Harbor, but I don't think it's really a cause for celebration. It's more like honoring and acknowledging.
Yeah, it's remembering
that the day exists. I've been, I don't know about you guys, but I've been to the memorial in Oahu, and I'm not really, well, I mean, you can look at me, I'm not a big tough guy, but I'm also not really affected by stuff. I tend to be cynical and cold. But when I went to the memorial, you're on the Oahu and you take a boat out to the memorial, and they walk you through it, and you can still see drops of oil from the Arizona that's at the bottom, and the whole thing is very affecting. It's very sad. It makes you think, and so to everybody who remembers that day or wants to acknowledge that day, I don't have a closing for that, but go ahead. It is something to think about.
it's certainly not one of those things you say Happy Pearl Harbor Day over.
Right. No, it's sort of like I've had people say Happy Veterans Day, and it's like, well, no, that's not right either. And it's not just because it's a day off or a quote unquote holiday. It's not really a holiday. It's a day to think of. It's a day to think about stuff. And so today, to remember Pearl Harbor, we're wrapping that back into comic books, and we're going to talk about military superheroes, the military in comics, and talk about some of our favorite war comics and war heroes from comics. And I don't really know how to start this off other than that the comics basically started in 1939. Is that correct? More or less?
38, 39, yeah.
Right. Like the real comics. There were comic book things before, but real comics were 1939. Hey, and we're also joined today by Thomas Formonte, and my eyes are so bad I cannot read what it says underneath his.
I thought Mr. Jose wasn't going to let me in there for a while. You didn't see me going like this.
I was waiting for the tip to come through digitally.
Oh, I sent you the money.
Oh, I must not have checked it.
Oh, PayPal, right?
That's right.
Good
so,
all right.
And so comics. Comics really got started at right about the time World War II, or right about the time World War II was heating up and looking to actually become a world war. And so comics and World War II sort of go hand in hand. And into the 40s, you had a ton of comic books come out where the famous one where Captain America's punching Hitler in the face. And then I think there's one where Superman is punching Hitler, and there's all kinds of Nazis and Japanese soldiers on a bunch of comic book covers ad infinitum. And war comics and the military have been a part of comics ever since. And what I found out, and we got some links that Jose is going to put up. Yes. What I found out is that there was an organization called the War Writers Board, which was an independent organization started at the start of World War II, right after Pearl Harbor. And it was an independent organization, but it was funded by the government. And they paid comic book companies to put wartime propaganda into the comics. So it doesn't have a list. The links that I found don't have the list of the publishers who participated, but you can sort of see if a government organization is going to give a publishing company money to be gung-ho America and anti-German and anti-Japanese during World War II, publishers who were mostly gangsters and crooks in those days were going to take that money and put that stuff in the comics. So it's no stretch to say that the biggest publishers, DC, Timely, some of the others, would have taken those fairly easy. And then I found out that I have these weird facts, which is, let's see if I can find it. In 1942, 12 million copies of comic books were sold each month. And 1 out of every 4 comics sent to the troops, or 1 out of every 4 magazines sent to the troops was a comic. So if you were serving in the military and the government or whomever would send magazines, 1 out of every 4 of those was a comic book. So it was a huge industry, and you can see where pro-American military propaganda would sort of serve a great purpose to sort of keep soldiers pumped up. And the War Writers Board was founded by a mystery writer named Rex Stout, and a bunch of others were involved. And it was run by a guy named Elmer Davis, who was part of the Office of War Information that was founded by Franklin Roosevelt in the early stages of World War II, or America's involvement in World War II. And that's where we are. That brings us to the war comics and the military characters that we know and love, and some of them are fairly surprising. And Mike, you posted a bunch of covers this morning in our own chat.
There's so many.
yeah, that was just good, just to show you. And that's the one thing about it. I mean, yeah, it was propaganda. Yeah, that they could have been directed, but comics, were aimed at kids, and then you had that power fantasy, and so you had these characters that needed to represent what was going on, because some of these kids' fathers were off to war, and
right.
and they also wanted to be included because they were too young to go to war, because
yes.
World War II was such a rallying call, especially with Pearl Harbor. It was such a rallying call for people. And so you're a 12 or 13-year-old, and that's probably old for comic books back then, but you've got these cool characters that are actively participating in the war, just like one of the boys.
Yes.
And you've got Superman with he's carrying a torpedo as he's jumping over, ships to throw, and then you've got all these other cool characters, like you said, with Captain America punching Hitler. Something, again, our boys couldn't do, but that was the power fantasy at that time. I mean, it was we're sitting, as kids, they were probably sitting there, just cheering them on, because they wanted these fictional characters to end the war.
And also not just that the comics were sort of pro-military or pro-U.S. involvement in the war, but the comics themselves also had things that the readers could do at home to sort of participate, even though they couldn't do any of the actual fighting overseas. So you had paper drives that were advertised to kids, and you had posters about keeping your mouth shut so that the enemy didn't overhear you, and you had neighborhood organizations where kids would sort of spy on the neighbors to make sure there were no German spies or Japanese spies lurking in the local factories and docks. And so it was a full service thing in the comic books. It was things that kids could do. It was the power fantasy, like Mike said, and then it was the gung-ho fight the enemy stuff. And the comic book really was a full service tool back in those days.
Yeah, and to think of those same paper drives are the reason a lot of those comics are so valuable today, because a lot of those comics were thrown into those paper drives.
Yes, and that it's fascinating to think that because of World War II, Golden Age comics are so valuable.
Yeah.
You don't really think about it, but then once you hear it, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. I gave away all my comics to be patriotic, and I wish I'd had a copy. It's why I think there's only something like 9 copies available of Action Comics #1 that people know exists, even though it sold whatever it was 800,000 copies at the time.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
I think somebody just found it in their attic and sold it for $9.3 million.
That's
Yeah,
wild,
sure did. Yeah.
Yeah,
if I had my DeLorean time machine,
right?
that
no,
is
full
where I
on.
would go. I
It
would
was
pick up.
Tommy. Tommy was the one that had it in his attic.
Yeah, he just
Oh,
gave it away.
No, that was the lotto yesterday. I just won. Don't tell anybody.
Right?
now you won $20. I saw your post.
No, I spent
You won
$20 and won $4. We did get the lot. We did get the Powerball.
You-
All right. Can
So
I,
I'm gonna borrow a dollar.
Mike? Can I start sharing some of these photos? Because I want to.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
This one, I love this one.
Oh yeah, look at that.
See?
I mean, yeah.
That says everything
Right?
because Uncle Sam is ready for the fight, and always there's a kid character wearing the big
Yeah.
oversized hat. So
That's right.
Yeah.
Uncle
And
Sam
he's
is
holding
about to
the
go
hat
handle
for me.
business.
Uncle
Hold my
Sam,
hat while I go take care of business. Is what
that's
he
right.
said.
You can tell that guy works out too.
Right?
He does work out.
Just as Uncle Sam should, right?
That's
He's never
exactly right.
Never missed arm day at the gym.
That's right.
Wow. Uncle Sam, he was able to take care of everything back then. So Uncle Sam just a natural superhero.
Yep. Then there's actual a character, powered character named Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
And he looks like the classic, like goatee. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, the guy from the poster.
yeah, exactly.
He's
And,
fueled by the spirit of America.
He
Yep.
is able to open up Star Spangled portals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he was crazy. He was cool.
All right, who's next?
Let's see.
Up another one up.
Right. Let's see. I like this one.
Yeah, that was great.
All right.
Oh, the
Oh.
fighting. Yeah.
So I never even knew that was a character. First off,
The fighting yank.
Yep. Because back was a derogatory term to call Americans Yanks and whatnot, I guess, but
Right.
I never took it as such. But if you look in the bottom corner, it says buy war bonds and stamps for victory.
There you go.
Every little
Help
bit.
fund the war. Yeah.
That's what you
Right.
can do. That's what you could do at home. And it's
Yeah.
got all the stuff. There you see the swastika. There you see the Nazi armbands. There you see the goofy caricatures, and then of course there's the bondage thing. So
Gotta have that.
it's got everything.
Yeah, that's all the evil that you needed to see.
That's
That's
right.
right. It also plays up to what Mike was saying about the power fantasy, because there's a guy who's helpless tied to the chair, and then of course what does he need? He needs fight and yank.
Yeah.
And so depending on what your predilections were, you could pretend that you were the guy strapped to the chair, or you could pretend that you were the hero saving the day.
You're saving the day, yeah.
U.S. Jones. What a-
U.S. Jones.
Yeah, this was a pretty obscure one. I mean, even speaking of fighting Yankees, public domain, anybody could do a story about fighting Yank now. But this guy, I mean, he's pretty. As far as I think I remember seeing this cover in a Overstreet price guide, and it's like, okay, well, I can see why maybe he didn't, hold on, but
right.
But they were just trying anything to be, patriotic. These smaller
Right.
comic companies.
Yeah, and I think he's got all the classic elements of the American flag. He's got the red, white, and blue, and they've rearranged the stripes and the stars to try to give him the flag motif.
Throwing Nazis in the soup.
Yeah,
Yep.
he's always got. Yeah, that's right. They're always cooking people, and then of course there's bondage again, and then he's always fighting like 3 or 4 of the enemy. Like it's never just one-on-one, and it's never like some massive.
America winning against insurmountable odds.
That's right.
And then we got to save the lady too.
That's
of
right.
course.
Fight.
You can't leave the lady in the hands of the dastardly foes.
That's right. Well, I want to say so can we tell who did the art on this? Because that's real superhero-y looking.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, there is a device where we can look some of this stuff up.
Oh, golly. Maybe.
What is that? What is that thing called?
I think
I looked when I got that picture. I didn't recognize the names as far as who created them, as far as if they may have done anything else. Again, you got to think some of these smaller comic companies were just trying to get characters out, and they didn't care if they lasted or not. They were just trying to sell for a month.
That's right.
And so, they put people, just anybody who could draw a comic.
Yeah, and I think they were really like sweatshops where you would just crank this stuff out for whatever it is, $5 a page. And all right, so it's
put the shield up.
The cover is by Pierce Rice and Louis Casanueva. I mean, who are those guys?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were guys in the bullpen.
If you're related to them, I apologize, but we've never heard of them.
We've never.
It's in Pep Comics. It's the Pep Comics one.
Yeah. U.S. Jones was a professional baseball player who became a superhero.
There we go. That's reputable.
Yeah.
That's all American.
It's all American. He had a good American job. Hey, look at that. Similar motif for the uniform, stars and stripes rearranged.
Yeah. Right. And predates Captain America. The Shield is the first patriotic character.
Shooting gas into the pressure cooker. What's that, a tank? To the top of a tank? Yeah.
Oh no, it's a sub. I think that's a sub because they're in the water.
Oh,
probably is.
That is a sub. That's a battleship in the back.
He's shooting down into the hatch.
Yeah.
Because I think it was originally Joe Higgins, the something Shield. I think that's how the comic was actually. But these early ones were Pep Comics. But yeah, he predates Captain America. He's the first patriotic character.
Oh, wow.
Which is interesting because sometimes it doesn't pay to be first.
No, it doesn't.
Didn't they brought him back, right? Like jump ahead several years ago. I thought they brought him back. I want to say Impact Comics.
Yeah, Archie owns him.
Okay.
That's an Archie character when Archie did superheroes.
Yeah, Archie keeps trying to bring him back every few years.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it sort of doesn't work, and they stop, and then they wait a few years, and they do it again.
Yeah, because the comic's on there, and the comic came out when I remember, I don't remember obviously this, version of the Shield, but I remember, like I said, I'm pretty sure it was Impact Comics.
It was because DC licensed off the Archie for. They did the Fly and the Comet.
Yeah. Well, I noticed the Comet is in the little corner, the bottom left corner.
So the Shield, created by a writer named Harry Shorten, whose career I'm not familiar with, but illustrated and co-created by artist Irv Novick.
Oh, here we go.
Long run at DC, including a long run on Batman before Neil Adams took over.
Wonderful artist. I was a big Irv Novick fan. I did not know that.
And this is him. So he was drawing Batman in the late 60s, early 70s, and here he is in basically 1940, 41.
Yeah.
He still has. I mean, he had it then.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah. Now if that's him, that's incredible art.
Yeah.
Especially for the time when you see a lot of Golden Age comics that look like they were drawn by kids. To actually see adults drawing really good comics in the Golden Age is pretty special.
Yeah.
The cool thing about this costume is once he's done with it, he can give it to his sister and just get rid of the pants and the top, and that's a cool swimsuit too.
That's right. The Olympic team could take care of that.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Olympic swimmer. It is weird that I like the gloves, but it's too much red.
It's a lot of red.
Red was cheaper back then.
Yeah, it was.
Probably, yeah.
Because the red berries and the red insects that they made it out of were prolific. But it doesn't look right. It looks too much like red underwear.
The pink hair is a little weird too, but that's probably all they could do. So.
I'm going to chalk that up to
high cut for me. It wouldn't look good on me. I don't think that outfit would.
You certainly wouldn't
have
look good
confidence in yourself, Tommy.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I would need to go back to the gym. But the thing about the pink hair is probably the only color they hadn't used yet.
Oh,
probably,
I didn't even notice the hair. Yeah, he's got pink hair. Maybe that's just a weird color problem.
Pink hair on the pink skin does not look well. All right. Fire up another one.
All right. Next one. We're gonna go my girl right here. Liberty Bell.
The All-American Girl.
The
right.
All-American Girl. The Veronica Lake of comics.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was a big thing to call somebody the All-American girl or the All-American boy. That was an honorific back in those days.
And it was the equal opportunity, to be patriotic.
Yeah.
She was, her belt buckle was made out of the piece of the Liberty Bell, and if somebody rang the Liberty Bell, she got super strength
That's
for
right.
however long the bell rang.
Come on, that's. I mean, I can see them doing that, but that just seems like a dumb idea.
Well, but you're thinking of the audience at the time. They're thinking,
Right.
oh, the patriotism, oh, the whatever. But yeah, it was just to play on those hormones those boys didn't realize they were starting to get.
Right.
So here's the patriotic gal. She's All-American, and here she is, fellas.
All right, now I can't read. Are those credits in the bottom?
That's a story.
Yeah, Chuck Winter and Don Cameron.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the very, very bottom? Yeah.
Yeah, the very bottom.
Yeah, that sharks are also a pretty good motif for early comics. They were always throwing people in the water, and there were always sharks around.
But we also got the Nazi ring to make sure we know.
Right.
But you would kind of think that is the Nazi guy, got scuba gear on? Because she could just have stood up there and waited for him to drown, I would think.
It looks like
I don't know.
pretty big knife because his hand looks huge compared to.
Yeah, the perspective is off a little bit. I think.
Yeah, it looks like there's a giant underwater Nazi who is grabbing young women.
Because she's like grabbing a hold of his knife, which
Right,
turns out to be a sword kind of knife thing.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, the weapons were not accurate in these kinds of.
Yeah.
No, yeah. They were just trying to get the idea across.
Yeah, I mean, it's very effective. It's very visceral, and it's got all the elements that would grab you. It's got the pretty girl, it's got sharks, it's got a knife, and it's got Nazis.
Yeah.
I mean, it's four elements that you would need to sell a
and
cover.
then we're nitpicking the size of the hands. We should be doing it. Yeah.
I'm just saying, out of all the patriotic heroes and whatnot of that time, Liberty Bell's my favorite.
When she's also wearing horse riding pants.
Yeah,
she sure is. Looks like it.
You never know. You never know when you have to hop on a horse for America.
Well, maybe that's
right.
what she used to get around.
It was the fins in the pants that allowed her to be aerodynamic in the water.
And also, and again, this is a different era, but in today's world, her costume would have been sexier. This looks more like she's ready to go to work.
Yeah.
Not a complaint.
I like it.
All right, what else?
All right. Focus, Joe. Lock in. There's another Liberty Bell just because I like her so much. What is she? Victory. She's hitting them with victory.
Yeah.
I love all of that imagery.
Well, the name of the story is the ABCs of victory.
That's right.
She's giving them what for.
Yep. No, I love that. That's great. It's very smart. And she's standing on.
Get out of here.
She's standing on just some kind of green circle.
That proves that the Earth is round.
And that she's huge.
All the flat earthers out there.
That's why the big, huge Nazi hand in the water. You know what I mean? If she's that big, they've got to be.
Oh golly! Yeah, really.
This is probably the anti-Jeff Darrow page, because this is telling you everything you need to know in the very simplest of terms without having to draw every screw, every bolt in the machinery in the background.
Yes. Right.
This gets across what you need to know, and that's what it was all about back then.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beating them with victory, with ABCs of victory.
Yeah.
Also, the thing is that just you can go, and also because they turn these things out really fast, you could just say, okay, she's standing on a green circle, and we need some clouds.
Yeah.
And that's
done.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get an extra $1, so you might as well just put in some clouds.
And we need it next week.
That's
we need it in 5 hours. Get on it.
Who are the credits? Same guys?
Same people. Same guys.
Chuck Winter and Don Cameron.
All right.
She still got the horse pants on too.
Oh yeah.
Always. That's a uniform.
She borrowed those from Airboy.
That is true.
Well, you got superheroes running around in strongman outfits, so I guess she was supposed to be, I guess that riding horses was a big, thing
Yes.
I don't know,
Miss America.
stature or status.
Yep. And there she is. Now
Because
she's
that's
not.
spelled MISS. I guess that means she's not married, right?
That's
She's
right.
a
That's
younger.
right.
Yeah.
She's
Married
single, so
to
she's
America.
This is a teenage American superhero.
Yep.
The costume is way too much red. And it's got the puffy shirt.
With the pirate shirt from
I do
Seinfeld.
like
That's to distract the Nazis.
right. The shield, the fold of the shield does not follow her
No.
cleavage.
No, not quite.
Well,
So it's
we have
just not on
is
there.
that what you're looking at?
They had
My
less
eyes immediately drawn.
time to draw her.
Yeah. But still, I mean, it's an effective comic if you saw it on the newsstand.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you're going by that, her head's too big too. So we got to just give him a
I
little
would
bit of break.
say, I love how her hair is drawn. Not
Oh,
that
yeah.
we're critiquing the art itself, but
Yeah.
I think it's really funny because now you get in comics now everyone's got straight hair. You know what I mean? Sometimes low wavy, short, whatever. But hair used to be an entire thing. You know what I mean? Back in the day, where ladies would take forever to get it done, but it was always perfect and always had those sweet curls and whatnot. And
Well, if you ever watch old movies in the 40s and 50s,
Yep.
women characters are always getting their hair done either in their apartments or out in some place, and it's a common gathering for women to chat.
right.
In old movies.
See, I loved it. And I would like to say I'm not necessarily super old, but growing up, I liked that aesthetic of female like clothing and hair and stuff like that. I just think,
Yeah.
I
I'm right
don't
there. I'm right there with you. I agree that there's so much more character in it.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
And it adds texture to the drawing.
it does.
Yeah.
So and it differentiates her from other characters. So, but again,
Well, I'm going to tell you guys that I have used that same background on, if not 100 different commissions that I've done. Just that easy silhouette background.
you can just clip that out and paste it.
I
in.
feel so bad like doing. I think I've done it for like 2 commissions. I feel so bad doing
I
it.
use
Though.
it all the time. That is the perfect background.
It's supposed to be Seattle. Oh,
Most of these,
Maybe throw a couple of lights, a couple of windows in there, but for the most part, just black silhouette with a bunch of rock instead of the dead Nazis on the ground. Put some rocks or something.
right. Are those Nazis or those gangsters?
Are they?
I think I see a Tommy gun.
Yeah,
I like
think
that
that's
she's
the
already
combinations.
she's already standing over them. She's already taking care of business.
That's right.
Turn.
It's like don't mess with her. She's done. She's ready to go.
Is that a 10-cent book? 10 cents.
That's
Yeah.
a 10-cent book.
All right, who's next?
Yeah. All right. Moving along. Helps if I click buttons faster. All right.
Use your good finger.
Other hand.
I got one of those. That's it. Oh, I remember these costumes.
Oh,
Oh, the eagle.
The eagle and Buddy.
Yeah.
Buddy. So the eagle gets the patriotic name, and Buddy
Right.
just gets Buddy.
yeah, but they got if Buddy's the dude in the background, like wearing the same outfit, at least he got to wear the same cool outfit.
Yes, but he looks like a toy version of the eagle.
Yeah, but they both got the same
The
cape.
same.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like he's Batman and Robin. Batman with the darker color, grays, blues, however you want to draw him, but Robin with like the red and yellow, so that everyone sees him and he's the target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This case, the main guy, the eagle, could do something really crazy, and the bad guy, I'm gonna get that eagle, and then it gets the wrong guy and gets Buddy, and the eagle's like, ha ha, you got the wrong guy.
But it's another thing where the hatch on the villain's vehicle is open, which is a
Yep.
common
Yeah.
trope in these kinds of comics, where whether it's the submarine hatch or the tank hatch, or whatever. We're
Well,
opening
how
it up.
can you drive around if you're not sticking your head out the top? Got to be able to see.
That's right. I love the cape is the red and white part now,
Yeah.
but there's no blue except for the little shield like thing that's pointing to his crotch.
Yeah, that's on his whatever that is, the belt buckle.
Yeah, it's weirdly placed.
Yeah, I think they could have gone with the belt being yellow. That might have helped a little bit.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
I did not know that, Pops.
Yeah, I knew that.
Copied and pasted, so I will endeavor to remove it. But I appreciate you.
Thanks, Pops. I meant to cut it out before I sent the link to Jose, but I'm not.
Right. That's why Pops is the mastermind, the Oz behind the curtain.
That's why he's running the show.
He knows. Right. He knows the internet like no other.
And I think for Pops' sake, we probably should tell everybody, if you want to watch these shows or any of the other Madness shows, just jump on your TV. You don't have to go to YouTube on your TV. You can go to the Madness channel on your Roku. We got a channel.
Yeah,
we have a channel.
We sure do.
Yeah,
good stuff.
And since we're taking a moment to talk about Pops, and we talk about Goodbye to Romance, an artistic tribute to Ozzy Osbourne.
Yep, I've got a drawing in there.
Yep, I've got a drawing in there as well.
Yeah.
So go to our comments, click on the link, go pick up your book. It is a beauty to look at.
I wanted to pitch for that, but I was too late to get in. So I would say that this cover is not very dynamic.
No, but I think it's symptomatic of the time. Just they were basically, we got to put a patriotic character on the cover.
I think what really messed it up is the coloring. That yellow background back there really flattens it way out with the green, grass and stuff. It just whoever colored that didn't do the
also
cover.
They were limited back then, right? They're limited to the amount of colors they can use.
Yeah, they only have like 4 colors, but come on, use a different one. Something. I don't know.
Also, the character sort of blends into the logo, which blends into the cape, which blends into...
Yeah, way busy.
It's not a newsstand. It doesn't pop.
But what is the brown thing at the very tip top? The little thing that goes across the...
That's a plane.
It's a what?
That's an airplane.
Yeah,
The thing is diagonal across the top like this.
That's I see the wheel. I guess that's a plane. How old of a plane is that?
It's all the old. Were there tanks? Old. There were tanks in World War I, right? What tank?
Yeah, but they look cartoonish.
Yeah.
They look like somebody put a cannon on an old car.
This is like one of the first planes ever made that they're flying around with.
Well,
they're jumping.
Was it World War I? The planes weren't they made out of wood back then?
Oh,
I'm guessing. I don't know. I wasn't there.
All right, so the Eagle. There are no credits on the Eagle comics from GCD.
Zoom in.
Oh, here we go. So this cover in particular is penciled and inked by Roland Pétinaud.
Oh.
And inside the scripts were written by Luis Casanova, who we saw earlier. He's credited as Lester Ray, though.
Okay.
So interesting. All right. Also, the Eagle name was repurposed by Neil Vokes in the 80s for
true.
Like a ninja superhero comic that's really terrific.
Yeah.
So one of my favorites.
Very cool.
All right. Who's next?
All right. Okay, we got that one. Oh, I skipped this one. Can't skip this one.
Here we go.
There we go.
One of the Big Fawcett books.
Yeah, that was one of the second favorites past Captain Marvel, and that was co-created by C.C. Beck. I believe that's also the artist.
Is that Doll Man hiding in there?
Who knows?
Right?
Oh, and the little thing
in the bubble, Doll Man. Was it Doll Girl? I drew each of them once.
What issue is that?
Number three.
Number 3.
Spy Smasher number 3.
So that is pencils and inks by Superman artist Jack Binder.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
But this has all the tropes. It's got a hero busting in It's got the evil mad scientist who has, you know,
It's
obviously has,
obviously a Nazi.
Giving her some NyQuil.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
and he's got that weird Nazi science where he's shrinking people down
That's right.
Could be.
and putting them in globes.
And monocle, because you don't look nearly as menacing if you don't have a monocle.
No, you got
the
to.
monocle,
You gotta have
monocle's
monocle.
another one of those signs. You never saw good guys with a monocle.
That's right.
Maybe
And
that's
here's
the shrinking formula that he's given this other lady. So you stick her in that empty fish bowl behind him.
Right.
but with Spy Smasher here, we lose the patriotic motif as far as the costume.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
And here, so you know, he's a little bit of something original. He's still a patriotic character because he's, you know, probably working in the background. Because I believe he was basically like Batman. He was a rich guy, and you know, they basically drop him into places to find out things. He'd be very covert. So I guess a patriotic costume would kind of stick out a little bit. Of course,
Yes,
the very
it's
fact he's
cool.
wearing a costume should stick out.
Yeah.
He looks more like an airman, like
Yeah.
like a fight guy. And also, again, bondage.
Yeah, and he's in. You know, when he's designing his suit, he goes, "Man, I got to put something on my chest. Man, I can make a diamond. Let me put a diamond on my chest. There you go. Because my name is Spy Diamond Master."
It draws
Right.
attention. That's right.
Yeah.
Angles draw attention.
You just see the people in the office going, "Hey, you know what? We need to put. You can't have anything. You can't be bare. You got to put
We
something
got
on
to
the chest.
sell this. We got to put something on there. Well, I can cut a square. Okay, put that on you.
You got 5 minutes."
Sew that
that
on there.
looks-
Let's go.
All right.
You just know there's this guy behind a desk with a big fat stogie. You know, look at it's a kid. You can't have something without having something on the chest. Don't you see all the popular ones?
Right.
Yeah.
Get something
Yeah.
on there.
That's right.
And the Nazi scientist needs a strap across his chest to hold up his.
It's because that denotes uniform. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
that is a military uniform and it has a strap across, or
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
to help hold up his pants
Right.
or a jacket.
unless
Or
he's from
belt.
Canada.
It's
Yeah, because his jacket is tucked behind the belt, so that's a whole thing there. So the belt
What do you
is
think?
under the jacket. That's cool. I need
but
one.
I would say the stuff of that era was like the movies and the newsreels that you saw. Everything was black and white, so you weren't necessarily sure if that was a uniform or if that's his
Right.
evening jacket. So you really, I think the coloring and the accoutrements, like the monocle and the shoulder strap, sell it as the uniform.
Yeah, you know that's not a soldier. You know, he's
Right.
something different. He's not a soldier. He's
Right.
not just some lug out there in the battlefield. He's somebody special.
He's a mastermind of
He's a
some sort.
mastermind.
And he collects tiny people.
Yeah.
Well, he's making them with his secret potion.
That's it. With his-
See, and you got that one dude in the bubble already. It's like, no, I gotta
Yeah,
get.
he's
up.
like, man,
Yeah.
we're screwed.
Yeah, right. We're
like,
sunk.
no, don't
Yeah.
feed her.
So
Don't
here's
feed her."
the thing: why is he in his underpants?
Yeah, what's going on?
What the
He
hell?
tried
is
to
going on
use
there?
his clothing to fashion a rope to get out and got
Ah.
caught.
Right. Okay.
Maybe she
I
was
know.
cold, and he gave her the
His
girl that
dress?
gave her.
And he gave her his dress.
underwear so she could warm up. She was cold.
This is not that kind of America back in the day, Tommy.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Just
What do you
saying.
got?
All right, next one. I was waiting to get to these last two.
Mike, these are great images. Love them.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, they're a great significance of the period of time because it's like you said, comics and the war kind of,
Right.
and even when the war was over with, you kind of see a floundering in comics because
Yes.
they didn't really know how to pivot.
Right. Because they'd had a purpose for so long. Oh, Frontline Combat. These are Harvey Kurtzman stuff for EC.
Yeah.
And
I love this cover.
he did two things. He did Two-Fisted Tales and he did Frontline Combat, and they're really different wartime comics than were being
Yeah.
made at the time because they weren't necessarily gung-ho America, but they were pro-soldier. And they were like the stories of the guys in the trenches and the stories of the guys who were lost in the woods and the stories of the guys who didn't understand their orders or the stories of the guys who got trapped behind enemy lines. And so they were much more personable, much more harrowing, and for the time, much more realistic in their portrayal of war and the people who participate.
Yeah.
And I really like them. I think they still hold up. And
And think of all the other things. I mean, you have Sergeant Fury and the Howling Commandos. I mean,
right.
that weren't costume. They were there was something about their adventures that were more superhero driven, but they were military comics.
Yeah,
They
and I
were
think
war comics.
without Kurtzman, without Two Fisted Tales, without Frontline Combat, and without Kurtzman's work with his other artists, you don't get Sergeant Rock. You
No,
don't get Sergeant Fury. You don't get writers. You don't get all the Kanigher stuff like
Right.
Unknown Soldier and Mademoiselle Marie and all the other and GI Combat and Our Fighting Forces, because a lot of those they took away in that era. They went away from the superheroes fighting the evil war villain to more of the soldier's perspective and what war was like on the front lines. And so they're really impressive material. And this is 70 years ago.
yeah. Blackhawk, Blackhawk. Can't forget about Blackhawk.
Yes, Blackhawk. The thing about Blackhawk.
Blackhawk was wild. Like that, the idea of like you're talking about the group, right? The group
Yeah.
Blackhawks and whatnot. Love their plane design. I played a game called Crimson Skies just because one of the planes in that game looked like one of the planes that the Blackhawks had.
It was great. It was like half a superhero book, half a spy book, half fight the Nazis book, and like the mistake
semi sci-fi tech.
Yeah. And because and all the weird Nazi super science that was amped up, like the war wheel, which is like this giant wheel that looks like that operates like a tank.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a fascinating way to sort of shift from realism into not realism. So the only mistake they made is that by making the Blackhawk team one from every sort of allied country, they went into easy stereotypes. Which is sort of, it's understandable for the time, I guess, but it's sort of hard to look at now and go, oh, this is cool. So
I mean, they tried. Was it New 52 tried to bring? Was it Lady Blackhawk into more modern stuff? But that really, I think that's about it. They had her for. Wasn't she on Birds of Prey, in the comic Birds of Prey?
And then also they did Chaykin did a rework.
Yes, he did. I have,
which is if you're a huge fan of original Blackhawk, you probably won't like the revised version that Chaykin did, but I love it. I think it's as impressive to me as his work on the Shadow was.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is to take the dusty old concept and sort of shake it loose a little bit.
I will say I like. I remember one. It was like an off story. I think it was was it Sergeant Rock story, but it was some of his crew and when I was out Christmas one. That's the only reason why I remember it. And they were trying to do something to like save these people in this village, this town. And in the end, it's like a German town. In the end, one of the guys like goes and sells his watch to get a present for a little kid, right? And he gets the present for the kid and like for Christmas, like because he didn't have anything. And like, I don't remember all the details, but I do remember he gave the watch up. And then the last panel was the pawn shop guy looking at the watch, and it was a Mickey Mouse watch. He goes, Americans, they always think that everything they own is worth so much money. You know what I mean? And it was just the fact that like he had to him it was like a prized possession, that watch that he took care of. You know what I mean? He gave it up to give something nice to a little kid. It was a really nice Christmas story, in the middle of, the whole storylines of combat everywhere. And I don't know, for some reason, that whole thing with the watch really stuck in my brain. You know what I mean? Since I was little.
There were some very effective stories that when DC went through their war comics during the Vietnam era, and they ended, instead of saying the end, they always had that little sticker that said "Make War No More."
Right.
They were always, a lot of the stories were not necessarily sad, but just somewhat realistic about the price people pay who are involved in war or who participate in combat, and the toll it takes on everything.
Yeah.
That is really really effective comics.
Right.
Even when they can be, goofy. Even when there's one, I think All American War Comics had a thing with the War of the Time Forgot, where for like 15 or 20 issues, soldiers fought dinosaurs.
Yes.
And it's
was that the one that had GI Robot as well? Because I know there was a run that had GI Robot fight dinosaurs.
GI Robot was part of the Creature Commandos,
right?
And those were the monsters that fought the Nazis. And then GI Robot also features in the Creature Commandos animated series. It's currently on HBO Max.
That is true. I do like the older one. The Creature Commando GI Robot was cool, but the one back in the day, because he had more of like a mask, like almost like a gas mask kind of cover to his face when he talked, like a voice box that had to be there instead of like, animated plate movement and whatnot.
Right.
But,
well, all those later day, like the 70s and the 80s war comics that just had an indelible Kubert look to them. I mean, they were all pretty much, they had that look and aesthetic to it. And it was, you kind of felt like, you're telling no tales, but the meaning was still there.
Yes. And Kubert was a master at setting up the page, but also the cover.
Yeah.
Like every Kubert cover for the war comics is very effective on the newsstand. You look at that and go, how could I not? Because it's always Sergeant Rock or the soldiers going, all right, this village is clear. And then you just see, 15 Nazis in the corner going, oh, no, it's not.
I would have loved to go to school, 5 or so years sooner than when I did, so that I could actually be there when Joe was there.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
I think like the Losers, how great the Losers were.
Oh,
thanks, Woody.
Yeah, thanks, Woody. And also even the Losers when Kirby took over for several issues is interesting because it's based on Kirby's war experiences that he saw. And so if you look at it as these Losers are not the traditional Losers that Joe Kubert and the company did, these are Losers as a separate entity, they're very satisfying as Kirby's autobiography.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But if you were coming into the regular Losers and suddenly it's Kirby, the difference is night and day. I happen to like both versions, but once I found out that these were Kirby's experiences channeled through comics, I was much more interested in his version.
Yeah, and you've got also a situation where the creators are affected. I mean, we're talking about the characters that were, the comic companies and the characters that were affected by wars just in general. But think about the guys that went to war.
Yeah,
almost. Stan Lee, Kirby. All the guys that we would know served.
Yeah, and, Kirby, Eisner, Kurtzman was drafted. Some of them did not actually see combat, and some of them never left the U.S., but they were still served. They still were in the military.
Yeah,
and I don't think you can, even if you were on the home front as part of the military, you're still affected.
Well, people, even the people that were stateside. Like I said, one of my grandfathers was an MP, but he certainly knew people that were shipped off, and they certainly he was certainly affected by it.
Yeah,
I mean, all these creators were too, but some saw action. I believe I'm trying to remember who was a fighter pilot. I can't remember, but there was an artist that was a fighter pilot. I can't remember though.
And there were some. I should have made a list, but there were some comic book guys that did not come back. Like they enlisted or they were drafted and they went over there and they did not return.
Yeah.
And that, when you think about for us, because we're selfish, or at least I am, it's like, well, how many great comics could they have made had they not perished?
But think of all the comics that Kirby created based probably on his service, what he saw and what he felt and the camaraderie and all the, just the things that you live.
Well,
going through an experience like that.
You can sort of look at it at Kirby's art because he drew post-war. A lot of his art became more fierce and more intense, and his combat scenes were very intense compared to his pre-war stuff. And he was very interested in teens, after that.
Yeah.
He created a lot of things, and that could have been just because that's what the market wanted, but it also could have been that when he's in the military and in combat, he was part of a team. And so it resonated in his work. And I realize I'm sort of making this up on the fly, but it does sort of make sense to me.
Yeah.
As to how war would have affected his work when he came back. All right, who else have you got?
All right.
Oh yeah, another Craftsman book.
Yep.
Where it's just look, and the thing about these books is, first of all, He-Man Adventure. So, you know exactly who this is for. The coloring is fantastic. It really just pops, and it doesn't look like any of the other books that were on the newsstand at the time. It's very, you know, you got your foreground soldiers, you got action, you got.
It conveys we're having a fight. This is combat.
Right.
Yeah.
Those guys are clearly soldiers. They're colored like soldiers. There's no bondage woman. There's no evil villain. There's no monocle guy.
Nobody flying around.
Yeah.
You don't know who's in the other Jeep. Don't say there's no bondage woman. You don't know who's in the other Jeep.
That's
true. That's true.
That's right. There could be. No, it's just brilliant. Your eye, it narrows your eye to the explosion. It's fantastic work. And so
I have nothing bad to say about it.
No, and with the title Two Fisted Tales, you can't confuse what the story is about. Right. You're going to get manly stories.
It is.
It's a war book, war comic.
Yeah. A war book. It's not called Chicken Comics. You're in for a good manly time. And that was true of a lot of this stuff, because there were war movies at the same time. There were paperbacks. There were comics. They were all sort of coming out in support of the war effort. And although I think Two Fisted Tales is post-war, but it's so here's a here we go. Agent Cub says we need a closer look at Jose's Transformers corner.
That corner. Come hang out with us. Hang out with me on Tuesday. On Tuesday night, I'll show you.
Yeah, Tuesday is the Jose show. Jose's guesting today. So now here's the question: why do you guys think that military comics are not a thing anymore?
Like anymore? Me personally, I can see how, like you said before, we said earlier, that it was a drive. Like, when 9/11 happened, I saw this picture. It said, oh yeah, 9/11 changed America, right? And it showed all these houses, and then 9/11, and then the houses pictured again all had American flags on it, right? All of a sudden, we all became super patriotic when that happened. What? Somebody attacked America? No, right? So I feel that under that same understanding, Pearl Harbor gets attacked. Like, I feel that America jumped in. We're like, okay, we're like, you just called us out. Now it's time. Like, America steps up. America's like, we don't get attacked. I mean, now I don't know if it's nearly as such now, but I feel things were a lot more patriotic. Like, we were more in love with our country. Yeah.
I think there's too much cynicism now. I
agree with that.
I think with especially the 40s war comics and the characters that were affected by war, you had it's like Jose said, you had an underlying feeling that we all had. Right. And I think especially the last 20 or 30 years, I think war comics, I think DC's war comics were probably the last. Those were in the 80s. Yeah. We've not really had any more war comics since then, because I think there's a cynicism about, you're not necessarily the cynicism is not toward the soldiers, but it's about the cause behind it, or the reason behind it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the reason we don't see a lot of war comics anymore, because it's just, I think that it's too negative. I don't think people want to expound on, unfortunately, their patriotism.
See, and I was going to propose that somewhat same question. Like, could we have as much as it's just a slew. This is just like a handful, like Mike shared with us, of covers and whatnot for war comics that came out. I'm sure there's a ton more, but would we have that same effect on in comics now? Like, we're still in skirmishes and wars now, but it's not that same.
I think what happens is, so I don't disagree with any point that anybody's made so far. I'm just going to add to it. I think that in the old days, well, in the modern era, war is sort of hidden. Like we're not drafting kids anymore. We're not sending people away. It's not really a community thing, and war is sort of over there, and it's out of sight, it's out of mind. It's not part of the daily lives of most people,
Right.
like it was in the 40s and into the 50s. And so I think that because it's not there, and it's not at the front of everything, we're not organizing food drives. We're not having rationing. We're not retooling all of our factories to make stuff to support the war effort. We're not doing paper drives or anything like that. It's not part of the community like it was in the 40s.
No.
And so it's not part of the daily life. So it's harder to sell to a mass audience when that is no longer part of the mass. And so I can't prove that. I have no numbers to back that up. It's just it's a feeling I get that a war comic would not appeal to the cynicism that Mike says, or to the audience that currently exists.
You think the people back at that point when we were making these books were more out to buy this kind of stuff than they are now? You know, is it are the because they were in the the wars and stuff were going on, these type of things with the Nazis and everything. So what did we make a lot of those books back then just to help support the boys, to make sure that everybody knew things were going on, because now we've got everything it's instant on TV, on everything. We don't necessarily need comics to let people know that there's still fights going on, because you can see it every day if you just turn the TV on, that kind of thing.
There's that too. There's no mystique about it anymore like there was back in the 40s.
Or were we making the books back then just to make a quick buck because they knew that the war was going on?
I think it was a little bit of both. Right?
Yeah.
There's definitely to encourage patriotism, you know what I mean? But there definitely was a whole marketing plan to use patriotism to sell books.
Yeah. And it was clearly in the best interest of the publishers to demonize the two main villains, the
Right.
Germans and the Japanese. So it became very clear to the audience that, okay, it's superheroes versus our enemies. And so that there's not that clear demarcation anymore, because a lot of things are very gray and people know more stuff.
Right.
And
We got Woody.
Woody's
saying, right? Woody's saying, I think I may remember 10-cent comic books. I do not. I see them. I've seen them, but I do not.
I've seen them, yeah.
Had a German surname and kind of. Remember, it is okay to make fun of us, like Colonel Klink and Sergeant Schultz. Who's Colonel Klink and Sergeant Schultz?
That's Hogan's Heroes.
Hogan's Heroes and Warner Klemper and Hogan's Heroes. The only reason he took the role as Colonel Klink is he had to be a buffoon. That he wouldn't actually. I'm not getting off subject, but that's a geekery kind of thing. But
yeah,
with Hogan's Heroes, he wanted the Germans to be stupid because he knew they're whatever. But that's who that is.
Yeah.
But to get back on the point, I think about, as far as the cynicism go, I think about you got a character like Captain America. You had this this experiment to make this guy into a super soldier. This little wimpy, kind of a representation of America. You attack us and we're going to come at you strong.
Right.
And you think about how the decades went by, and as the Captain America story was told and retold through Marvel Comics, how cynical the Captain America story actually did get. I mean, you think about what was in the 90s or the 2000s, where it was revealed, certainly during the 70s, it was revealed that the super soldier, the formula was tried to be replicated many times, but it was always on white. And then, in the 2000s, you start hearing stories, or you got, writers writing stories about, well, they tested it on the black soldiers first before they would give it to the white soldiers. And so there's a cynicism there about taking an origin and wanting to put historical significance behind it. Have I lost everybody?
No,
I because I had stopped reading Captain America by then, so I have no insight.
Yeah. There was a whole story called The Truth, where it was revealed that they were actually in trying to replicate it, they used basically guinea pigs,
Right.
and but that casts a very dark on the Captain America story.
Right.
If you ask me,
Which is
it's very cynical.
But there's a whole thing in modern comics to find sort of the hole in the original story and fill that out. Like what were they doing? What were they doing before the super soldier serum, or what were they doing?
Yeah.
On the side. And so I think a lot of that comes from the writers who are just trying to get a story in that fills the continuity cracks. And I think you get lost in the rabbit hole when you try to do that stuff.
Right.
It's better.
Right.
Like the Captain America story doesn't need. It's like Batman's origin. Batman's origin is very simple. Crook named Joe Chill shot
Right.
the Waynes in the alley, but over the years, that's also taken on.
Retconned for this and that.
Like a very complicated thing where it's like it's a big conspiracy when all it is just it works better. Like Captain America works better. Oh, they gave him a shot. He was weak, and now he's he wanted to do his
strong.
Part. Now he's strong, and that's to me I don't need more than that. I just now I want to just see him do the work.
Yeah.
And so
seeing Batman needs to be simplified the way it was as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. Very simple origin story. Parents get killed. For anybody that doesn't know already, Batman's parents get killed.
Shocker.
You know what I mean? And then little boy grows up with more money than sense.
And I think that's and really did not get the therapy that he could have gotten at the time.
Right.
To cope with his parents.
So instead we're gonna flap through the night and beat people up.
Right.
You know
I think Agent Cub brings up a good point in the comments.
Yes. When we were talking about not having as many war comics now as before.
Yeah, maybe people got burned out on war comics like they did with Westerns and romance. Has it been enough time that we would start reading war comics again? I think you need a good war. I think because you can't, otherwise the war comic is going to be too cynical and it's not going to be, I don't see where a market is ready for the kind of comic that would be produced today that's a war comic, because the audience would not respond to a gung-ho comic.
Right. To try and give the same level of patriotism that, the older comics had.
Right.
We would have to be, and not to get political at all, right? At all. Not even one little bit. But we would have to be more of a unified America when, things are very, very split on how people believe and what people consider patriotism now.
I think you could do it in the context of the soldier's life.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see that.
What they're doing, make it personal as opposed to war. Like what's it like to be deployed overseas? What's it like to do this or that? But it would be hard to not delve into the politics of whatever the situation is. And that's when you open up the door to the modern internet coming after you.
Yeah.
In whatever side you propose to tell the story on.
Well, again, that's cynicism. The idea, what's the real reason behind this?
Right.
I want to see what's the agenda. Tell me, there's not a clear-cut villain. I want to know the agenda. No one's ever going to believe it's behind one person or one group is behind something. It's always going to be, again, you're cynical. You've become jaded with our modern world.
Why aren't they doing a war comic now? What's that about? And so I think that's where you get into that, and I think that's why, unless you figure out a way to transcend that, as opposed to lean into it, then you're not going to get a war comic.
Could you pick a war from the past, and then like we do with all of the old history kind of stuff? Could we pick the Korean War and then do a comic told now based off of that
I would
time?
say movie-wise, that's what Quentin Tarantino was kind of doing, a reimagined period movie. That's where Inglourious Bastards was a reimagining, you know what I mean, of what happened.
When these books came out, this was what was going on at the time.
Right.
And so now if we were to do a book based off of fighting the drug war or whatever you want to, whatever the Russians are doing right now, would that sell? I don't know. It's still got to sell, right?
Yeah, and I think That's the thing too. And you've got, I mean, there's really only 3 publishers that could do it, and I don't see them being interested in that kind of stuff.
No,
because
I
it's
don't think so.
side. And I don't see an independent creator being able to come up with something that would appeal to an audience who would make it successful.
No.
So
Right.
I think you have to take what Agent Cub says, the war comic would have to be like the video games, Modern Warfare and Battlefield.
I will tell you, from Modern Warfare and Battlefield, from the video game point of view, I still like the older war video games more than the more modern stuff.
But they're fairly realistic, and they're from a soldier's perspective of just, I got to get out of here alive.
Yeah, they hit harder.
And sorry, Agent Cub, I didn't mean to ruin Batman for you.
Also, Krypton blew up, Agent Cub.
That's right. Yeah, Krypton blew up as well, man. I don't even know whose phone that is.
Not mine.
Not mine.
It's not mine anymore.
Roland.
Roland's calling again. Stop,
Right.
stop, guys! You're getting too political. I mean, I would love to see a good war comic in the same way I'd love to see a good romance comic in the same way I'd love to see a good Western.
But could you make up a war and do a comic based off of it? Would it sell, you think? Or does it have to be based on something that's really going on for these type of genre comics?
Well, what's Aliens?
Yeah.
Aliens is a war movie.
Yep.
You know,
Terminator.
You just have to think how it.
So superhero books really just are our version of war comics, right? Because I mean that's what they're doing. They're doing the same thing. You could take this cover we see right here and make this, you know,
We're gonna get
whoever
to do
you
a
can
full
make Captain America and some
war.
other. Maybe not even take Captain America out of it. You could make Thor and fighting with some aliens in the background. It's the same book.
Right.
Well, we didn't even mention the Nam. Larry Hama's book of the 80s.
Yeah.
That was, I didn't get it because I wasn't interested in that kind of thing, but I knew I had friends that was the only comic they read.
Right.
I mean, it was hard hitting. And like I said, my dad served in Vietnam, and, as far as that point of view, and they were very grounded stories. It wasn't from what I can remember of it, they were very grounded stories about real tales, guys that lived through it.
There was also Don Lomax's Vietnam Journal.
Yep, forget about that. Yeah,
which ran for I forget how many issues, at least a dozen, I think. But the Nam was very critically acclaimed.
War movies pop up nowadays every now and again, and they seem to do okay.
I think it goes with the comment from earlier about people might just be burned out. You need to do a good one.
Yeah.
Like Saving Private Ryan. That was a really good. It had great battle scenes and conflict and stuff like that, and special effects and whatever. But it was a deeply personal story.
Yeah,
that whole
movie made me cry.
That was
really about soldiers in combat
Yeah.
and the obstacles that were put in front of them and how they had to overcome them. So it has the same structure as a superhero story, but it's deeply personal. It doesn't, and it's clean. There's heroes and there's villains.
Yeah.
Agent Cub also says, I think it would have to be a made-up war, similar to what they did for Top Gun and Maverick.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Answer your phone, Tom. Send that guy a message.
Yeah, right.
That's right. All right. Well, I think we've covered everything. That's at least everything we have. We certainly haven't covered every war comic ever made.
Right.
I want to thank everybody for participating. Thanks for the chat. Thanks to Mike for providing all the good images. Jose, thanks for filling in for Roland. Tommy, thanks for being Tommy. And Roland will be back next Sunday when our show will be about censorship and why I can't say dirty words on the air.
Well, that's
the words you can't say.
And on Tuesdays, Jose's show is going to be talking about Bring on the Gods.
That's right.
I assume it's like stuff like the New Gods and the Eternals and Zeus and Thor and all that stuff, right?
I'm going to tell you that you'll have to wait to find out, but mostly because I don't exactly remember. So yeah, I believe that's what it boils down to, like incorporating gods into stories and not just not just like deities per,
Right.
per like, oh, Hera and Zeus and whatnot, more gods into the fold.
You should compare the Thor that appeared in a Batman comic compared to the Thor that Jack Kirby drew, and see if people will laugh at the difference.
Right. Or the one from Ragnarok.
Yes. And the Wednesday team will be talking about the team ups, the good ones from the past and the ones that we'd like to see. So,
and anytime you can have a sidekick with brighter colors to get all the attention on them.
That's right. Make them this is my sidekick target.
Right.
This is the
you make your sidekick an outfit that circles on the front. That's
that way, because you can always get a new kid to be a sidekick.
Right. I mean, Batman did
a bunch of times.
What was the? I think it was martial law that where he put his sidekick at risk because he could always get another sidekick. I think it's martial law.
That's outstanding.
Well, then there was Rick Veitch's Brat Pack.
Yeah. Yes. Oh man.
All right, let's not ruin it. Let's not ruin it for Wednesday people.
Oh, we should just do the Wednesday show now.
Just do it right now.
Welcome to the Wednesday show.
They'll have to come up with something else. We already did it.
So thanks everybody. Thanks for playing along, and we'll see you next week. And you'll see Jose on Tuesday.
That's right.
And as we like to say here at the Silverline Sunday Show.
Make mine Silverline.
Hey everyone, this is Jose Marzan Jr., anchor for Marvel and DC, and make mine Silverline.